Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the advocational convo I had with Lindsay Moore. I think we made that word up.
No, I looked it up.
Okay, well.
I mean, I replaced it. It keeps trying to say avocational, but advocational is in the Wiktionary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in our last episode, if you haven't yet listened to the episode, go back and listen to it now, or feel free to pause this one, listen to it, don't listen to it, then listen to this one and go back and listen to it. You're going to love Lindsay's voice. I'm going to be really honest.
She's very
just go
sweet.
Listen to it. If you want to listen to this one first and then the other one, I know people do that just because they tend to listen to things on like the end of the week and then they go backwards in time. It's also fine. It's kind of like knowing the answers before the questions. I don't know. It feels good. So you do you is really what we're saying.
It's like starting at the end of the maze.
That's me.
Yes, it is.
Y'all, okay, this is not in our notes, but I just have to say this because Brad wasn't there for this. But when I was on the Kate Wynn podcast, Mom, Me and Astrology, they said that but the way my chart reads, it's like really good with like before and afters. And I didn't say it, but all I want to say is I'm really focused on the after and then figuring out how to get from there to the before, which is now. So anyways, if you listen to that episode, you know I like a before and after, but for different reasons.
That is amazing.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we get started, we got a couple quick things.
Hello from Monterey, California.
We are in Monterey.
We are at the Balanced Body POT. Y'all, we are at this POT right now. We're going to be in Korea at the South Korea POT in Seoul. That is in, I think, May. And then we're going to be in Miami for that POT. So later this year. Get on the POT train. It's so much fun.
It is a blast.
Yeah. How do you get on that? That's a Balanced Body question. But but just know that we're there. So we hope to see you.
Yes.
And if you're in Monterey right now, well, we're
Come
here.
Come say hi.
We're in one of the hotels on the main drag. So there you go.
You'll see us bopping around the event.
Yeah. Can't miss
We are
us.
going to have a table.
Yeah. And in a week and a half, we are going to do a pre-sale for the Chairs flashcards. Oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. You guys, I'm so proud of myself because I was really worried that this is going to be another 9-month project, but like I've been really meeting the deadlines and our team is really got my back. We got a really good system going on. So I'm so excited to say that we are literally a week and a half away from opening up the opportunity to buy them early so that we can hit print, and then you will get the best deal on the show, on the road,
On the pre-sale.
Yeah, you'll get the best deal. It's the pre-sale. It's the best deal.
Yeah.
It'll be regular price when they come out, just so you know.
That's right.
If you're like, I'll wait till they ship, you'll just pay more. Thank you. But you can pay less and buy early.
Yeah, so we've got a wait list for you. Only those who are on the wait list are going to get the hookup, okay? So you can find that wait list at opc.me/flashcard waitlist. I'm just going to say that again, opc.me/flashcard waitlist, and we will put that in the show notes because I know it's a mouthful.
Yeah. And then the doors are already open for our October retreat.
What?
Yep. And if you know, you know. So that's all we're going to say about that.
YK.
All right. Do we have a question, Brad?
We do. And actually, this question was sent to you over the gram.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's actually like, I think they were referencing an old YouTube video. So bless them for going back in time, because I actually don't do Pilates after I weight train anymore due to my schedule. So I had to go, let me update you on my life.
Well, why don't you read the question?
Yeah, well, I probably should do that. Aren't you in my brain? Don't you all know what it says? Okay, this person said, you mentioned you like to do Pilates after you weight train. I do Pilates before I weight train. Is one better than the other? And what I told them was, wow, thank you so much for like looking at this old video. Back in that life that I had, that's what I had access to because I actually had Pilates and weight training in the same building. And so I could do it that way. And here's why I liked it that way. After you, first of all, like weight training requires, a lot of like stamina in the muscles and strength. And then you need to stretch. And I actually hate stretching. So this is not a scientific opinion. This is just my opinion. So it requires stretching and I hate to stretch.
Oh, I love it.
I know you love it. You also hate weight training. So it's like a really, so
I think that's but you're naturally flexible too though.
Yeah, but you still have to stretch.
Yeah, I know, but that's not my point. My point was that I'm naturally flexible and I love to stretch.
Yeah, I am naturally
I'm
flexible.
not naturally strong.
Yeah. I think I'm both. Anyways, so
I'm just perfect.
I'm just perfect in every way. So why I liked Pilates after I weight trained is because it actually did the stretching for me. Obviously there's strength components in Pilates, it's strength-based workout, but it was really nice. And it really to me prepped me for the next time I weight trained in my opinion. The problem with doing Pilates after you weight train is one, you have to have the time and the accessibility, and B, there's no breaks in Pilates like there are breaks in weight training. So for the person who does it before they weight train, the reason why that's an awesome option is because it warms you up for weight training. It gets all your bodies connected. It allows you to be moving from your center right away from your first rep. And you get breaks in your weight training. So if you're like, oh my God, that was a lot. There's every after set, you can just walk around and chat with people for a couple minutes and then go at it again. It's weird for me to do that, but you can. So is one better? I've never done a scientific test on this. I haven't seen anything from the Huberman podcast. Just going to say he does a lot of deep scientific research. So I really just think, what do you have accessibility to? And is either practice having a negative effect based on the order that you're doing it? If it is, then switch the order or switch the days.
Yeah, the idea is with Pilates, you're going to be moving consistently over 10, 15 minutes, right? You're going to get the blood flowing through your body, and that is going to benefit you when you are weight training. Yeah. So I love the idea of doing it before because it gets the blood flowing. Doing it after, Pilates also, not only does it help you strengthen, but it also helps you stretch. So you could use it as a cool down in addition. So actually, you could do it both. Yeah. That's what I just think it really has to depend on you and also your body. And then ladies, just gonna remind you of Jen Pike's podcast episode, and also Dr. Bender's first podcast episode. Based on our hormones, our workout schedule has to change a bit. So you may have times of the week where you can do a 2-a-day, like I could, where I could do weight training and Pilates. And then there's days where it's are you kidding yourself? You should just be doing Pilates. And if you are, or just do some jumping jacks. Good to go.
Yeah. And if you are perimenopausal, that is going to be a whole different ball of wax that you get to experience on your own. Yes, loves, I heard your request. I'm working on a menopausal guest, so stay tuned. But the too long didn't read is, do what makes you feel good. That's always going to be better.
Love that. All right. Okay, now let's talk about Lindsay Moore.
Aren't you so excited to talk about her?
I am. She's amazing.
We love her.
Yeah, obviously, she was the first teammate
we ever
hired.
Yeah, and if you didn't listen to her episode, then you don't know how much we loved her and you don't know how we met, and that's a reason why you should listen to it first. But anyways, Brad's going to tell you about her.
Yeah, she's just lovely. But on a mission to empower people towards getting the best health care they possibly can, Lindsay is a doula, a patient advocacy consultant, a coach, and a speaker. She works with individuals, families, and provides
providers.
Oh, I read that wrong. She works with individuals, families, and providers to foster great communication to transition well through the different stages in life.
Yeah. Which I just want to like point out, we probably have it in our notes, but if you can notice, like she says providers versus doctors. And that we talked about that in the podcast of why like that's a really
and we're not necessarily patients. We are clients.
Yeah, love being a client because that means I can take my business other places.
It's true. It also changes the way you think about it. So,
why don't I jump in?
Yeah.
So, I love that we brought up this topic that she said, which is like, why don't we speak up for ourselves with medical professionals? So her points on this were that because they wear this white coat and because they have this medical degree, and because we're all raised that like, if you're not a doctor, like you don't know everything. And we implicitly trust them. And
well, it's actually like a phrase. It's called white coat silence.
Yeah, white coat silence.
White coat silence.
Yeah. So, and it just means that we implicitly trust doctors that they said so. And there's this power dynamic that they know more than me about health. And it's like, yes, they did go to school more than you did about the body, but you also know your body.
Yeah, you know your body.
Yeah. And then also what other things that come into play is just people pleasing in general. Raise your hand unless you're driving.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that. You know your body. I think that's good. That's helpful. You don't necessarily know the science and the medicine, the medical behind your body, but when the idea here is you know your body. So if they're saying, well, then, if they're making assumptions, for example, of like, this, that, this, and you'll be feeling this, that, and the other. And you're like, am I feeling this, that, and the other? You can literally say, I don't feel this, that, and the other. So because you know your body, right? Yeah. So obviously they know the science behind it, but you can feel it.
I had a doctor, like, remember when I was with my stomach issues and we had talked to the guy that I ended up working with, and he had said, I want you to make sure you don't have any parasites, because if it's parasitic, like it doesn't matter what I do, we have to get rid of that anyways.
Right.
So I went to this doctor with my insurance, and we in LA, we actually had great access to great medical care. We lived in UCLA Medical District, so we had awesome access. And the doctor looked at me like I was a crazy person, and I was like trying to tell him how I knew I felt, and he was like, all your blood results look good, everything's in range. And I was like, but I don't feel good. And so I would like us just to explore, like look another time at this. And it wasn't until I said, I've lost 25 pounds in the last 2 years with the stomach stuff. And that got them. So fight for it. Like give them more things that will advocate and explain why you don't feel right, even though everything might say you should be.
Yeah. I think that's really helpful, because as you get frustrated, maybe you're actually revealing more information, like in your case right there. My mom I grew up with this idea that the doctor knows, but the doctor isn't necessarily right all the time. And I only knew this because my mom had her finger crushed in a garage door, like flattened. And she was like young. She was like in her early teens. And she went in, and this doctor came in, and I don't even know what the full story was, but he said something, and my mom as a teenager was like, what? That doesn't seem right. And I was young, and I was thinking like, how did you have the wherewithal to be like, no? And she told him, you can't touch me. Leave me alone. You need to send somebody else in here. And she like shut this guy down, and I don't think he knew what to do. And she was just like, I don't know whatever it was that he said. She said, I don't agree with this. And that was the first time that I ever thought like I was like, wow, I didn't even realize you could do that. I thought the doctor just knew everything. So
no, you can, this next part, which I want to get into really quick before we go into your stuff, is the people pleasing part, because it would have been so easy for her, depending on how she was even raised, to just go, okay, he knows, but people pleasing is like, so what the preventive that is like, if you don't come in prepared with questions to ask then it's going to be really easy for you to like talk to the doctor, and then because you don't want to be a bother, a pest, like an annoying client, you might just like agree with what the doctor says. And
yeah, sure. I think that most people will think, wow, the doctor's got to be super busy. I don't want to bother them.
Do you remember the Seinfeld episode where Elaine was like, what are you writing? what are you writing in my note? What am I writing in my chart? And like, she became like really obsessed with it. And then like, she was like trying to steal her chart, and they're like writing like, I don't even know. I don't remember if they're actually writing anything about her, but I think like we have this fear that they're going to write something about us, like that we were like an annoying patient, and like and I worked at a doctor's office, everyone, and just so you know, never once ever in any of the charts I ever had to work in did anyone write, this person calls too much, don't answer them. Like that doesn't and now if it has happened to you, fuck that doctor, move on, but like, and report them, but that's not what people are writing. They're often just really busy. And signs, because I asked her, I said, what are some signs and symptoms that you're people pleasing? Because I think some people don't even realize that they're a people pleaser. And so she said, because it also can be like very, specific. And she's like, are you driving home? Wish you'd had asked a question that you didn't. And I remember we talked about this earlier with the recent visit with the doctor I'll never go back to. And I really was trying very hard not to leave without having asked a question. And all I remember thinking is in the car was like all the things I wish I just said to her. Like, you're not listening to me, which would be the opposite, would be a little antagonistic. But like, still, please go in your office visit with your providers with questions you want answered so that you don't have to remember it in the moment. And if you are a recovering people pleaser, you can just like focus on your list.
Yep.
What did you love that she said?
Well, first, I just wanted to say, if you're hearing a bunch of crunching in the background, you're not crazy. Our dog has found a bone, and he's just out of my reach.
Y'all, he hid that in the bed. I swear we had no toys in this room.
No, he went outside, and he barked. And I opened the door, and he came running back in
that toy
with
the
toy.
Yeah.
He went out to the backyard to get this bone.
Yeah. This is August, and he has a toy box, and he's always looking for a specific toy. It's not just any toy. There are specific toys he wants at specific times. So
it's true. It is amazing.
That was your intermission.
It was, yes. Another thing that I'm laughing about, I just looked up on YouTube, Elaine and the Seinfeld thing. Yeah. So we're going to include a clip to a YouTube video so you can enjoy that. So if you need a laugh right now, feel free to check the show notes.
That was a great episode. That was good.
So, people pleasing, it's tough. It's definitely, I think one thing that would be helpful with that is to write your questions down before you go in. Because it's really easy to freeze in the moment. I've done it, like, oh, do you have any questions for me? No, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even remember anything. Like Lesley was like, hey, we need to take the dog to the vet because he's got this bump. And I call the vet, and they're like, hey, what's wrong with him? I'm like, I can't remember, but I know I'm supposed to call you. So write your questions down. It'll help you in the moment. One thing that I loved that Lindsay said, she talked about red flags, right, with healthcare providers. And you just kind of hinted at it when you were referencing your experience. And you can go back and listen to the actual interview to hear the full extent of, the frustration you had. But if you feel like the doctor is talking over you, or they're not listening to you, or you're saying something and they keep changing the subject, or they brush it aside, that's a major red flag, right? If you leave the office with anxiety, that is a red flag, okay? I thought it was really interesting because I think that...
I left that office visit full of anxiety. Like, I was like...
Not just anxiety, but anger.
Anger, and I was like, even like sad about it because I just wanted to have a fucking doctor here.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, you mean here meaning in Vegas.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and I think that
I had to go back to my California doctor and like literally go, I need a blood panel. What can you do that is allowed in the world that I live in a different state than you? And she's like, here's what we can do, and I'll do that for you. I was like, let's just do that. Because that answers my questions that I had. Yeah,
and it's frustrating, but I think that the other thing is, So first off, these things that we've been talking about are about like after the fact, after you've already met this doctor, right? And so that's important to know. You can reevaluate. Just because you booked with a doctor and they gave you like a set of things to do doesn't mean you actually have to go like do them, especially if you don't agree with that person, right? Or they make you feel weird, or you're stressed after you leave. You can absolutely find a different provider, and you can you could say to them, I went to another provider. Maybe you don't like jade their opinion right away, but at the end of the conversation, after they've made their assessment, you can say, this is what the other doctor said.
People get second opinions and different prices on curtains and blinds and carpet and handyman.
Construction,
how many people
like
did we
building
have,
a patio. I mean,
how
painters.
many people did we have come to the house about the air conditioner? 6?
No, 3 different companies.
3 different companies.
Yeah.
So you can shop around.
And I had 2 electricians come by, 2 different electricians.
Yeah.
Because they were like, hey, we'll come do an evaluation. We want to see it. I was like, great. So I just started having electricians stop by.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, treat your body like you treat your house.
Yeah. Or your car.
Yeah.
Or don't, maybe, because if you don't take care of your car, then don't do it like that. But here are some things you can look for in a healthcare provider before you meet them. So there are now like dating profiles, right? So,
oh my God, you remember that ad we just saw the other night? Maybe it was just me. I think I was binging on my own show. Anyways, there are ads, and it is like swiping, like a Tinder thing.
Oh,
and
that's
it's like,
hilarious.
oh, she's available tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I was there for that one.
I was like,
booked. And actually, I think that we were just going to mention your dad's experience with ZocDoc.
Yeah,
and
that was actually the ad we saw. And my dad's 70, you all, and he is like, oh yeah, I just use it on ZocDoc. I thought he loves his eye doctor. He's mentioned it. I mean, he's 70, so he repeats himself, but he has mentioned 7 times how much he loves her.
Yeah, and then the other one is that when you do meet them, again, this is now you've met them. So, do you feel like you were able to build a relationship with the doctor? Did they treat you like, got to check my watch because I got another patient in 4 minutes, 3 minutes, or were they, were they basically buried in their notes the whole time, or were they actually engaging with you?
I want to bring up because I talked about this in the episode that I keep bringing medical people because your health can actually be the biggest obstacle to you being it till you see it. If your hormones are off, your mental health is off, your body's off. But if you're like, I don't know, guys, this is fine. I just want to say this goes to your vets too. Like maybe you're like, I love all my doctors.
Totally does.
We're trying to find a vet here, and we've shopped several times. We've done these several things, and with Bayonne, he has an interesting issue, and the doctors here were unwilling to figure out how to perform surgery on him. Because we said the last time he had surgery, he had a seizure, and our vet that he was with was able to immediately stop the anesthesia. He stopped seizing, and she just quickly did the removals while he was still like lightly sedated. But
topical surgery, he's okay.
He's fine.
Yeah.
But we had to do another surgery on him, and while the vets here are fine and they're absolutely trained, whenever we mentioned this allergy or this event, they literally shut down, can't do anything.
Yeah, they just go, we're probably not the provider to help you with that. And it's like, what? Okay, that's crazy.
So this goes to it's like learning how to advocate for yourself. Maybe if it's easier learn it while advocating for your pet or your house or your car, try that. But there's just different signs and things that you can look out for. And our vet in California, which yes, we drove 4 hours to take him to the vet, 6 actually, because I hit traffic. But she did research to make sure she could perform a surgery without him having this thing. And there are people out there who can. At
the end of the before the surgery started, we were just there last week. So before the surgery started, she came out into the lobby. She met with us and she said, "Hey, I was thinking about this last night." And I was like, "What?"
Yes.
You spent the time to think about tomorrow's surgery before you came in and did it. I mean, she's probably done this stuff 1,000 times, but she specifically read our dog's chart, remembered all the things, and then thought about it again. And when she said that to me, I was like, you're amazing.
And when she has her own building, we will give her a shout out. LA people cannot take any more patients right now. So we will give you all of her information when she has her own building, and we will happily send all the dogs to her because she's amazing.
Yeah, she really is. Well, anyway, so we're talking about when you're meeting your provider, do you feel like they treated you like a human? Did they take the time to get to know you? And then finally, when you leave the office, what were you confident in the next steps? Was it clear? Was it easy to understand? Right? These are things to look for in a healthcare provider. So first is check out their dating profile. Second is when you meet them, do you feel like they got to know you? And third, did you leave the office understanding the straightforward next steps? So, yeah. All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Lindsay Moore? So specifically when it comes to being your own healthcare advocate, she said you really need to adopt a client mindset. Right? So not a patient mindset, but a client mindset. So you are the client. They are providing a service to you. And how can you collaborate with them to have the best possible experience? So I thought that was just so interesting because we were talking about already with all the other providers you would ever bring into your home, but let's just talk about an exterminator, right? If an exterminator is coming to your property and you have dogs in the backyard, clearly they're going to say, hey, would you be so kind as to take the dogs in the house and lock the door? Yeah, of course, no problem. I'm going to collaborate with my exterminator so that he can do the job or she can do the job properly. And that just seems normal. There's nothing weird about that. That's an obvious thing to do. But somehow that gets lost when we are talking with a doctor. In the same way, you are in a position, you are a client, you have 100%, you have options to go to another provider, right? And you can collaborate with them about your health. So I thought it was really interesting to adopt a client mindset.
Yeah. And if you're I don't know about that, maybe Brad's example is I live in an apartment. I don't know. Think about the places you do shop and the ones you don't and why you don't shop at those places. Cause you have specific reasons why you don't eat at a certain place. That's being a client, that's being a customer, it's being a consumer. Yep. So take that as your roadmap.
Yep. Totally. What about you?
Okay, so here are the list of questions you need to write down. And if you are driving, then you need to, become amazing at memorizing. Here we go. One of the best ways you can advocate yourself is to listen to the post game. This is when you're driving home in your car. How are you feeling? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel angry? Did you ask all the questions? So even, do you feel things in your body? Do you feel better walking out than you walked in? Do you feel the same? If you feel the same, I'm going to go, that's a positive. But if you feel worse, that's, and it wasn't bad news bears in there, you probably, with diagnosis, there's something to pay attention to. And she said, ask yourself what's going on in your body, what needs to change moving forward. Are you comfortable seeing that doctor again? This is a big question. Are you comfortable seeing that doctor again? You don't have to have a reason. So this episode hasn't come out yet, but I want you, in Dr. Bender's second episode on our show comes out, I want you to be really careful when you think about trying to reason with things. She has a whole segment on reasoning. As humans, we want to have a reason why something feels a certain way, which actually just causes more stress. So if anyone asks you, are you comfortable seeing that person again? And you don't have an immediate, yeah, and there's a hesitancy in there, then something in your subconscious is wondering something, and it is worth evaluating. And it might not even be the doctor. It could be the assistants that they have. It could be the front desk person. To me, that final question is one of the most important that you could ask yourself. And I really hope that this whole entire episode has you thinking about your health in a different way, thinking about your providers that are on your team. This is your team. You guys, when you see people who are out there, what you would aspire to, these actors, not that you want to be an actor, but these people who are celebrities of some kind, when you see them and you see the life that they're living, they have a team, right? You have a team. Maybe you don't have executive assistant. Maybe you don't have, an accountant or a social media person, but your doctors are on your team. Your dog sitter on your team. Your vets are on your team. If your team is not allowing you to show up and be the best version of yourself and be it till you see it, then you think of a football team. If your quarterback is slacking, you're not going to win this game. The other team has to suck worse than your quarterback for you to win. So it's so important that you evaluate who's on your team and make sure that they're all part of what your goals are. And for that, anything to add, Brad?
No, I mean, I think that the biggest thing I just keep thinking about your recent visit. The drive home you were very frustrated. And that was a very easy, like, okay, moving on. You know, and for me, it's funny because we were supposed to see the same doctor, and she had some, you know, patient prior to us that like took way more time than she expected, and so we ended up seeing her partner, and it was
you ended up seeing her partner.
It was a guy, and he was super cool, super chill. I was like, wow, this guy's really like. I left feeling like we're on the right path. And then you ended up seeing her and you were like, I can't go back to see this person.
And
not
just,
an option.
And just because I don't want to hear it, I literally went seeking a woman. So this is
Right.
not me not liking a woman over a man. I specifically want a female doctor. I'm still going to look for one.
I don't think anyone was assuming that,
Well,
but that's fine to clarify.
I just want to make sure because, you know, I really am looking for that and I'm going to keep looking. But in the meantime, I advocated for myself with my old provider. I'm getting the needs that I needed done so I can move forward. But, you know, I really do hope that these experts in all these areas are helping you see that, like, it's not just about having goals and a vision board, y'all. Like, your body is the thing that goes with you everywhere.
I hope so.
Your well, I mean, I guess these VR, what do you call this stuff? Virtual reality? VR. Okay.
Yeah, it's what the kids are doing.
And the kids are doing. No, but adults are doing it too. So that is the only time you're living a reality that is not with your body. But I really do. I'm like resistant to change on that. But I just really want you to think of your health as part of being it till you see it. And until next time. No, I'm kidding. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so grateful for you. How are you going to use these tips in your life? Let us know by sending us a DM on the pod. Tag us at beit pod on Instagram, and we're going to catch you on the next episode.
Love it. Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Frattarelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jaira Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.